It's already been out for a couple days, and I finished it. First thing I want to say is, I don't think there will ever be a better story game than The Last of Us, the original one. I just don't think it'll happen. It's just that good of a story, and making a sequel to it is extremely hard. And I just want to get that off first because it's hard to make a really good sequel after a outstanding first one that really took Naughty Dog and it really just put them into God tier. I just want to say I love Naughty Dog. I mean, they hold a special place to my heart. I think they make some of the greatest games I've ever played. It's like some of the first games I played. When I first got my PS3, I played Uncharted, and I played all 3 of them. Then the first mature game I actually played was The Last of Us, because I just got my PS3, and it was the first mature game I ever played, so that was cool. And so all these games really hold a special place in my heart because I grew up with them. And so that, on a nostalgia standpoint, is what really I just love about Naughty Dog. And I've yet to play a bad game from them. So let's just get right into it, I guess. I'm going to say some good and I'm going to say some bad, but really what I want to do is I want to focus how good it was. It is really good, and I hate how people are dissing it so hard. Just some things to start out with. In my opinion, I honestly think Revenge was a cover-up for Self-Identity. That's what I got from this. I know Neil Druckmann and the game was centered around revenge as the central message. I agree with that, but I believe that's a cover-up for what actually went down. And the reason why I say Self-Identity is because, first off, spoilers ahead if you haven't played it already. So, just warning you right now. If you haven't played it, there's 2 characters in the story, Ellie and Abby, the 2 main characters. Ellie we know from the original, and Abby is a new character that we see who, spoiler, kills Joel, okay? And we play with her. And that's a risk, and I'll go back to that in a second. But I just want to say that both characters are dealing with sort of the similar problems in their lives. I mean, they're both losing loved ones. They don't really know who they are or what to believe in, and that's why I think self-identity is the main message of this game. Both of them they go on this adventure to get revenge on one another, but I truly believe they're going through all this to find who they actually are. I just love the game. I mean, it was just so much fun to play. And I think a lot of people are forgetting that. I had such a fun time playing this. I could literally not... I could not take my hands off the controller. I mean, this was all I was thinking for the last couple days. That's how good the story was, and that's how fun the game is. And Naughty Dog they do that super well. I love their combat, and I love their gunfire. It's really good, and I love it. I mean, this is all my preference, so if you don't like it, then, I mean, it's your fault, but I'm joking. The gameplay was awesome. The graphics were so good. I mean, it just looked so good. You couldn't tell if you were either playing the game or if it was a cutscene. I mean, you couldn't tell. One thing I want to really shout out was the writing. The writing was really good. For a game, it was very good, because they did a good job of layering both Abby and Ellie and making us care about both characters. I didn't think I would like Abby as much as I do, but I grew into her, and after just watching her and playing as her, I started to grow, and she growed on me, and I thought they did really good, because I knew they were going to do that, and I said, I don't care about this girl, but she did. I do care about her. And they tackled a lot of different characters, which I really liked. Each character meant something. And that's why I feel like their deaths were so important. That's what this game does really well. It's very realistic with death, and I really appreciate that, because death is it's a normal thing. It's a natural thing. And I hate how, in this case, Marvel, this is why I don't like Marvel, is because death doesn't matter in those movies. They don't. Because you know what? They're just going to come right back. That's all that's going to happen. In Last of Us Part 2 and the original, death is a factor. They die. They don't ever come back. They're gone. They're gonzo, okay? And it's sad. It really is. This isn't a happy game, okay? This is real life shit. This is like, it's a sad game. I'm just saying that. Everybody in this dies. I mean, for the most part. It's a lot of death, okay? To go back to the writing, I thought the flashbacks were done very well. They were placed in perfect situations. I thought it was a good, like, rest. Good, you just focus on Ellie and Joel, or Abby and her dad, and Abby and Owen. You just focused on that. It was a good break. It was relaxing because it wasn't a lot of fighting, but you got to learn more about the character. And instead of them just talking about it like, oh, I'm sad, my dad died, they do it. We actually get to see what happened, and I really appreciate that. I much prefer flashbacks over just talking about their feelings, and they did a really good job about that. One thing I want to talk about, which I don't think a lot of people like this character, but I really liked Abby. She had a really good arc. I mean, she really did. She was written so well. Look, yeah, she killed Joel, okay? That sucks. But she has her reasons. She's justified. I mean, everybody doesn't want to blame Ellie and Joel because they're the people we played with. We understand their stories, but they're not good people. I'm just saying it. They're not good. Abby's no better than them too. I mean, nobody is good in this film. From the Scars to Tommy and his people in Jackson to the Rattlers to everybody in this game, everyone's a bad person. It's after the infection. The world's gone crazy, and nobody's good. Everybody has their own reasons. Everyone just wants to survive. So if you get in the way of that, they're gonna push you out. Okay? I know we love Joel and Ellie, but they're no better than anybody else. That's what I want to say. And I think Abby is a great character, and I'm glad I got to play as her. At first I didn't like it because I wanted to play as Ellie, but she really grew into me. So I want to shout out Neil Druckmann and the studio because they took a fat-ass risk in one of their biggest games they've ever made, and we were gonna play as Ellie. That's the only character we care about. That's the only character we know, and because we figured Joel was gonna die, but we don't. We play with her the first act, and then act 2 is Abby, this random character, and all we know about her is that she killed Joel. That's a huge risk to take, and I don't think a lot of people like that. I personally think it paid off very well. I want to recommend when you're playing this game to read all the notes that you find throughout the game. It's really good. I mean, people had to write that, and people had to make that a part of it. And I just want to shout out that because the stories within the notes are so good and so, like, sad. I think it really adds another layer to the game. So, one thing I want to talk about is the motivation. The motivation. Why are we going through all of this trouble to go to Seattle and risk our lives to kill this one person? And I've been thinking about that a lot. You know, the first one, it does a really great job. Everything seems right. Why are we going halfway across the country? She's the cure, okay? Like, that's a huge reason. That's a really good reason to do that. To risk our lives is because she's the cure and she could save mankind. Now, in the second one, it's tough. I mean, it's not going to be the exact same thing. It can't be. And so, I think what they decided on was that Joel's murder, like Joel dying, is the reason why we go to Seattle. I think that's a fairly decent meaning. I mean, I get it. Joel died. But is it worth it? That's what I've been asking myself. Is it worth it? And I really think that was just a cover-up, like I said. Just like Revenge and Joel, it's all a cover-up for finding out who Ellie really is, you know? I think she really finds herself. And a lot of people are really getting mad about how Abby doesn't kill Ellie and Ellie doesn't kill Abby. I mean, that's just, they both have their opportunity to kill one another, and they don't. They spare each other's lives. And I can't really come up with a conclusion yet because I'm still wrapping my head around that, but because I thought about the motive, why are we doing this? And I truly think it's because, one, Ellie wants to get revenge because they killed Joel, and two is because Ellie is lost and she wants to find meaning in her life. Because when Ellie finds out that Joel saved her from dying and not the cure's gone. She says the cure was going to make my life have purpose. I think that's what we missed through those 4 years. She was finding out what is her purpose in life. And I think she used Joel's death as a way to come up with her purpose. If she can get revenge on Joel, that is her purpose in life. And I think that's what they were going for. That's how at least I interpret it. So I think the good outweighed the bad overall, but I would like to go through some of the flaws I thought of the game. So one is Abby's fear of heights. It's a creative thing to add, depth to her character, but I really didn't think it. I mean, it was just convenient, I really thought they were going to use the height thing as maybe like a final boss thing when they're fighting, because I thought it was going to come back in the end, but it really doesn't. I really did not have a whole lot of complaints about this, except for one thing. The worst part about this game. Are you ready for this? The worst part about this game is you. You are the problem, okay? You are the problem. No, not you, but the fans. The fans is what ruins everything, okay? The fans are bashing on this game, and I hate that. Why? Why are you doing this? So here's my thing, okay? So the first game, incredible. Everybody loves it. You know why? Because no one knew about it. It had no expectations to be good. And it is. It was. It's one of the greatest games probably ever. And then the second one comes out in 2020. And the old one came out in 2013 or something like that. So we got 6-7 years of hype building up around this second game. And people are making high expectations. And it's hard because they're putting them in a tough situation, Naughty Dog as a studio. It's hard because this game had so many expectations, and a lot of people don't think it lived up to that. And I just want to say you're wrong. You are. I think it really does. And you shouldn't come into this with really high expectations, because it's not going to be like the original. It's not. What do you want, the same game? It's not going to be like that, okay? The first one's gone. It's done, okay? The second one, you just gotta enjoy it. You gotta enjoy playing as Ellie and getting to find out her story again, And that's what's really just a bummer. I read some reviews while playing, and I heard some stuff from friends, and they said some bad stuff about it, and it really ruined it for me, because I wish I didn't read that, and I didn't even mean to. It was just in the back of my head while I was playing, and the whole time I'm like, how do they not like this? Why do they think it's bad? Well, I'm not just enjoying the game for what it is, and I think that's why that's the worst problem about this game. It's the fans, and I think they really did ruin it. It's ridiculous. So yeah, that was my full length Last of Us Part 2 review. I just really wanted to get some stuff out about it, because I just want to let people know it's a really good game. I highly recommend it. If you haven't played the first one, play that. It's so good. I mean, it's just, that's all I can say. I can only say good stuff to recommend it to people. It's a lot of fun, and thank God Ellie can swim.